one of the mistakes that people make is that they think of power as, they don't think of it as a dial. Or if they think of it as a dial, they think of it as a dial that can only go up. And there's some interesting research showing that if you think about power as a dial that can go both ways, you're actually going to be more effective. So one of the lessons here in this research is that in certain circumstances, now if you're not in a position of power, don't worry about this. But if you are in a position of power, where you're leading people, where you have some nominal authority over people, something that you could do from this research, again, which shows essentially this, an inverse relationship between feelings of power and perspective taking. Feelings of power and perspective taking, inverse relationship, is you can do this. That you can increase your effectiveness by briefly reducing your feelings of power. I want to underscore two words here, briefly and feelings, okay? That is, let's go back to Abhishek for a moment, okay? So let's say that, it can be clear when you see this. So let's say, God forbid, that I'm Abhishek's boss, okay? And Abhishek, I'm your boss, and I want you to do something, and you don't think it's a particularly good idea. Okay, it's not illegal, it's not immoral, you just think it's kind of a stupid waste of time. You still going to do it? Yeah, Abhishek says yes. Okay? Most of us would say yes. I have said yes many times in my life to idiotic requests from a boss. All right? Anybody here has not received an idiotic instruction from their boss? Actually, if your boss is here, raise your hand immediately. But for the rest of you, okay, right? Because you're not going to litigate everything, right? Now, if you think it's a stupid idea, are you going to bring your full talent to this, Abhishek? How are you going to go about this task? Abhishek says half-heartedly, right? He's not going to he might not do a great job on it. It's not going to be a high priority for him. Okay? So maybe I can be more effective in persuading him if I recognize this idea of a dial. And I understand this inverse relationship between feelings of power and perspective taking. What I could do is this. Before my encounter with Abhishek, I could just dial down my feelings of power. Again, I want to emphasize that it's about sort of dialing down your feelings of power in that moment. I don't resign. I don't give back my salary. I just say, God, Abhishek needs to do this thing. My last conversation with him indicated that he wasn't that into it. Maybe I can be more persuasive if I do this. I'm going to dial down my power a little bit. Maybe Abhishek's really good. So maybe my ability as a boss to carry out my goals depends heavily on him being all in. Like maybe I have less power than I really think because I actually need him to execute what I want him to do, what I want to get done. Abhishek's very, very good. Maybe at some level our company needs him a lot more than he needs our company. This guy could go out and get another job somewhere else. He's pretty darn good. What happens? Inverse relationship. I dial down my power. I likely become more acute at seeing Abhishek's perspective. Maybe I can understand why he's resisting. Maybe there's an obstacle in the way. I'm the boss. Kick it out of his way. Maybe, if I break a sweat, I can say, what's in it for Abhishek to do this thing, or do this thing in a different way? Again, if you think about power as a dial that goes up and down, our instincts as leaders always is to, ratchet it up. But in some cases, turning it down a notch can increase the acuity of your perspective taking and make you more persuasive.